I made a promise to myself that I would never forget what that was like. Because I've lived it. I know what it is like to work 80 hours a week and still not be able to pay your bills or be able to go to a doctor. And I know why people wind up in the emergency room when they don't have health care. And I say that just because it's not even me. It's actually where a lot of people are right now. And so when I was able to go to college, it wasn't because I had saved enough money to go to college. It's because, like most people, I needed to go into debt, take out student loans, and continue to work through college all the way through. And then by the time I went through law school as well, I graduated with $70,000 of student debt, which I'm still paying on, which is also not unlike, it's not unlike what a lot of people are going through. They either can't afford to go, or if they are going, that they are really looking at the equivalent of a 30-year mortgage for many folks that are out there. So when I got into the state level, my eye was always on who doesn't have a voice, who needs one, who doesn't have a paid advocate at the Capitol. And it doesn't take long, despite a background in political science, to realize, wow, there's 1,100 lobbyists at the state. Who pays them? Who pays them for? And it's no wonder that a lot of regular people feel like, hey, there's nobody in there for me, because most people don't have the advocacy in the building. So, a few highlights over that period of time and why I think it matters at the federal level. When I got in at the state level, I saw and was concerned about the role of paid lobbying versus public interest, and I ran and passed lobbying reform at the state level. Every lobbyist, who they work for, how much they're paid, every bill, who's lobbying for it, who's lobbying against it, you can see the financial Secretary of State's website, and the short version is that was a really big fight. And no one thought it was going to pass, and it did. And that's because the organizing work we do on campaigns like this, we need your help once we get in office too. Every meaningful policy reform is not done really in the beltway under the dome, but we won those fights because we're people involved. Campaign finance reform. 527s used to be the secret undisclosed unlimited corporate meeting. I took Colorado to be the second state in the country to disclose all money in and all money out on 527. After Citizens United. Citizens United, let's not make any mistake about that. But at the state level, what we did do that year, we were one of the few states that actually passed a disclosure bill that took the new spending allowed under Citizens United, and again, we captured the disclosure so it was all money in and all money out. I'm proud to have been part of an effort to double renewable energy standard on environmental issues. We increased oil and gas inspectors throughout the state. I tried unsuccessfully to get further setbacks on fracking and oil and gas development as well. And we, in Aurora, by walking around here, one of the things I heard from people was, I want to be part of renewable energy, I want to do solar, but I can't afford it. I can't do 30,000 out to get 10 out or whatever. So we researched the country and we found that by doing a no money down, we could change the law so that you could do no money down, affordable monthly payment plans. We quadrupled rooftop solar in Colorado because of a bill like that. Talk about job growth with the companies, but I will say that because of that bill, anyone part of Solar City, Sunrun, Longevity, they're here because of my bill. Sunrun and Longevity and Solar City. And what that did is it democratized access to a lot of people who cared and want to be part of the transition off of fuels in a way that wasn't just simply based on what people could afford to do. Criminal justice reform issues. So let me just say that the biggest need for leadership on climate change issues and the environment, I'm really proud of what we did at the state level, but we have to take this up at the federal level. Mike Hoffman's a climate denier, Donald Trump is a climate denier. If we are going to transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy, if we are going to have any vision on a mass transit system that actually works in the country, if we're going to have clean air, clean water and decent food policy, it has to be done at the federal level. I want to say something on criminal justice reform. One of the places where I will be attacked, and I'll just walk you through a few of them, is because I have taken a very active leading role on criminal justice reform in the state of Colorado. We have a mass incarceration problem that really is a civil rights problem in this state, and a lot of it is being done through a failed series of policies on the war on drugs. We took up sentencing reform, and we started into evidence-based practices where we started to pay attention to data about what actually works, because we were spending a lot of money, not getting good results, and in fact, we're simply ruining a lot of people's lives in the process. Federally, we need sentencing reform as well. So, when I'm looking at our national platform right now of what our opportunities are, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is under active attack. One of the top priorities for me and for all of us needs to be to restore the Voting Rights Act to the full strength that is making sure that we are protecting everybody's constitutional rights. We need comprehensive immigration reform, and we need it now. Impasse with the Supreme Court. And because the current U.S. Senate is refusing to do its job to confirm a Supreme Court, a lawfully appointed Supreme Court person, we are now seeing the lives of millions of people being affected and hurt because of a deadlocked 4-4 tie. Everybody knows the system is broken. Everybody knows the system is broken. But what we can't do, and just like we saw on the sit-in on the floor earlier this week, is we can't get to the floor for a vote. So let me talk on safety issues. After the Aurora movie theater shooting, which is about 5 minutes from my house, I was majority leader at the time, and I personally carried, ran, and passed our universal background check bill on gun purchases in Colorado. I'm no stranger to running controversial, difficult measures, but I will say that this one was a new level of difficulty on getting that through. It was a session where I personally got 9 death threats in that session, and many of my other colleagues did. And I will tell you this, some of which whose names you'll never know, they were courage. And even John Morse, who was recalled, and Angela Carroll, who was recalled, they will tell you they were doing it. Because what we saw is now it's actually over 2,000 violent convicted felons, murder, kidnapping, on purchases of firearms that were stopped because this bill was passed. It needs to include the terror watch list for what is on there, and right now until we do, it is hit and miss. The databases do not talk with each other, and really, as long as there's both state and federal and different states, and what we saw on the Colorado Springs, shooting down there, Kentucky, he could not have passed a Colorado background check. He was able to pass a Kentucky background check because they hadn't done what we did. So we have bills that are here to try and get us to universal background checks at the federal level. As you know, they're not bringing them up for a vote. As you know, we have solutions in store for comprehensive immigration reform, but they are not bringing it up for a vote. And when we know that college affordability is in part tied to interest rates, and that changing interest rates and what it takes for someone to apply and basically refinance existing student debt. Do you know how many bills are introduced taking care of this that are getting to the floor with nobody? And this is something that crosses party lines. It's either because you're in school, or you have a child in school, or a grandchild in school at some point, and now it is affecting a whole lot of folks that are out there. So whether it is transportation issues, civil rights issues, voting issues, gun safety, higher education, climate change, you name it, everything is on the line for what happens at the federal level right now. And the place I really want to go is one big thing. Donald Trump isolated figure. We are not. And my bigger concern about the time we are in right now is, in my lifetime, I am trying to see where we have seen such a resurgence in open hatred, intolerance, and bigotry. And to me, anybody who is not actively renouncing Donald Trump and everything he has done and said is complicit in the problem. Part of what we have to do in this campaign is not let go unchecked the most vitriolic, the most racist, the most xenophobic comments that I have heard in my lifetime. We need to make sure that we don't let that become a new climate on our graph. This is a district where a lot of people's lives are affected. Words matter. And what we've seen, whether it's Orlando or whether it's the Colorado Springs Planned Parenthood, is when people use hateful rhetoric, when we openly fan the flames of bigotry, and we don't push back and put it in its place, sooner or later, people get hurt, people get killed, and their lives are affected by it.
Are you recording?
Yeah, keep government and trying to
I told him that there was no recording.
Hoffman,
It applies to both
has
of
said he
you.
would obviously
Immediately
support the
recorded.
presidential nominee, which is Trump.